All right, so today we're going to look at subtracting linear expressions. Okay, this one's a little bit tougher, but hopefully we can get through this. So, first of all, don't write this down. Let me just give you some examples. Okay, so let me write down some examples here. First example is this. Let's say I had 3m, but I'm going to put that in parentheses, minus m. Now, even though there are parentheses there, you guys know what that means, right? You know that means 3m minus m, which is, again, a 1m, right? And we can just simply say, okay, well, that's 2m. Right? Everything inside one box minus everything in the other box, right? That's what we talked about with adding. We talked about them being in boxes here. Well, today we're going to look at ones that are a little bit more difficult, like this. 3m plus 2 minus m plus 1. Now, what you'll notice is similar things are going to happen here. Okay, you don't have to write this down yet. Just watch. 3m and m, again, with a minus, just like the one above, is 2m. And then the part that's tricky that a lot of people kind of get mixed up on is this. This is also 2 minus 1. You have to subtract away from here. So 2 minus 1, which is equal to a positive 1. And we're going to find ways to make that a little easier for us. And this is, and I'll show you kind of one way that I'm going to talk about it right here. Okay, so that's what's happening today. You're subtracting, and when you subtract, you have to subtract the whole thing, everything from the other parentheses. That's the key there. All right, so check it out. Another example, just watch along with me. You might have a problem that looks like this. 6x plus 3 minus 2x plus 2. Okay, so here we go. One way I'm going to look at this is I'm going to call it a giant keep switch change. I'm going to keep the first part. Again, just watch. You don't have to do anything yet. Then I'm going to switch the minus to a plus. We've done that before. Now here's the tricky part. I'm going to change, but I can't just change one thing. I got to change everything inside the parentheses. Another way you can think about it is this negative distributes into. So 2x now becomes negative 2x. And positive 2 now becomes adding a negative 2. And then I can do it just like I've been doing all these other problems, right? I can stack them. I can say I can do boxes. I can do however I want. So on this one, I'll just do boxes real quick. I'll just say, okay, well, 6x and negative 2x combined to make 4x. And positive 3 and negative 2 combined to make a positive 1. Okay? So that's what we're doing today. It's a little bit confusing, especially when we start getting more negatives. But with a little practice, I think we can be okay. All right, so let's try one together. This one I want you to write down. 6y plus 5 minus 3y plus 1. Okay, write this down. All right, here we go. So let's do this with me, okay? So write down just as I write, or if you think you got it, you can go a little faster. That's totally fine too. Okay, so keep. First thing is keep. So 6y plus 5. Then switch your minus to a plus. And then remember, you're going to change everything inside. So 3y becomes negative 3y. And positive 1, adding positive 1 becomes adding negative 1. You see that? That makes sense? All right, now let's go ahead and let's try a different method here. I'm going to do the stacking method, but if you want to do a different method, that's fine. So negative 3y plus a negative 1. So I'm going to stack them up there. Six y minus 3y is 3y. Positive 5 and negative 1 is a positive 4. Okay. Now, if you didn't want to stack them up, if you want to do circles and arrows, or you want to do rewrite, whichever way you want to do is fine. Yeah? You guys ready to try one on your own? Let's have you guys try one here, okay? Okay, here we go. Okay, try this one on your own. Good job, Chris. Good job, Andres. Good job, Madeline. Good job. Anthony, you're close. Remember that negative's got to go to both terms inside. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Anyone else want to try? Remember the negative. Remember we're subtracting, not adding, right? Subtracting here. Okay, let's just go to this part at the end here. For some of us, we might be having a little bit of trouble. That's okay. Okay, so remember, this becomes adding, and 4a becomes negative 4a. Everyone with me on that? Now, this is the part where a lot of people got confused. This minus means you're minusing or adding a negative 6. So instead of adding regular 6, you're going to be adding a negative 6. Does that make sense? Why that changes? You're subtracting it now, right? Or adding a negative. Good, Joanne. Okay, the first one stays the same. Nothing changes with this first one. And now we can do the work. Now we can rewrite it. Now we can do it. Okay, so here we go. Check it out. I'm going to rewrite. I'm going to do the rewrite method this time. I'm going to say, okay, 7a plus a negative 4a plus 8 plus a negative 6. All right, so 7a and 4a, again, negative 4a does not make 11a. That makes 3a. And then 8 plus negative 6 makes a positive 2. And that's your final answer. So it's tricky. It's really tricky, okay? Because but you remember, if we go back to regular keeps with change, it's just if I had 8 minus 6, for example, that's simply 8 plus a negative 6, right? So if I had this here, that's all I'm doing. I got to do it just for both parts in the second parentheses. All right, let's try one more of these easier type ones before we get into harder ones, okay? And let's see if you guys can do this one. Okay. 3w plus 11 minus, let's say 6w plus 2. Okay, can you guys do this one for me, please? Yeah, good, Chris. Almost. No, not quite. Gotta remember, this is subtraction here. Make sure you're doing your subtracting here, or you're adding your negatives, rather. No, not quite. Yeah, not quite, Madeline. Not quite. Got to remember this first part. Remember that you got to change this 6w. Some of you guys aren't changing that 6w. So let's go. Let me go over this because we're having a little bit of trouble here again. So that becomes a negative 6w, right? Yeah, that's good in it. And that becomes a plus a negative 2. Let me do this here. Does everyone see that? How it becomes plus a negative 2? Okay. Remember, you gotta subtract away both here. And another good way to think about it is this. Look, check it out. Check out this. This is 11 minus 2, right? That's really what you're doing. You can break it apart like that. Maybe that's another good way that we can look at it instead. I'll go over that entirely in a second. So 3w plus 11. Okay. All right. So again, what you're looking at is this. You're really looking at 11 minus 2. We see that, right? Or plus negative 2. And on the other side, you're looking at 3w minus 6w. So these two combine to get you negative 3w, and these two combine to give you a positive 9. So you should end with negative 3w plus 9. Right? So again, just like you would think you were adding each part on the last couple days, this one you're subtracting each one away. So this minus that, subtracting. All right? Okay. So don't worry if you don't get that all the way. Practice tonight, and then we're going to go over this more tomorrow. All right? Let's look at a harder problem just because we need to move on. So if you don't get it all the way, that's okay. All right, what about with subtraction like this? Let's do 3x minus 3 minus 2x minus 2. All right, now this one is tricky. This one's pretty hard. So just take a look. Again, change everything in the second parentheses. So maybe this will help out a little bit. Negative 2x becomes negative 2x. Okay. Or I'll write down here. And then minus 2. Now, this is the part that gets everyone mixed up. Minus 2, the whole thing, I'm going to do this as like a whole thing, becomes plus 2. Do we see that? Minus 2 becomes plus 2. This one stays the same. Nothing happened to the first one. This minus became a plus. Okay, so now let's see how it works. Let's do our box method or whatever it is, right? Let's do 3x and negative 2x. That's going to give me 1x. And then a negative 3 and a positive 2. Those guys combine to give me a negative 1. So there's my answer. 1x minus 1. Or x minus 1. What do you guys think? That one's a little bit harder. Okay, the key is this part right here. This is the part that everyone gets mixed up. Negative 2 becomes positive 2. Okay, negative 2 becomes positive 2. Or minus 2 becomes plus 2. That's the part where most people get have their mistakes. Okay, minus 2 becomes plus 2. So let's have you guys try one here. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's give that one a shot. Yep, that's it, Chris. Yep, that's it, Andres. Real close, Anthony. Not quite. Not quite there, Madeline. Close though, very close. Yes, Joanne. Yes, Tina. Make sure we got. You're close, Dulce, but not quite. Make sure you have variables too. Not good in it. Okay, some of you guys are really good in it. It's good. Okay. Okay. So again, here's the key. This is the part that some of you guys are getting mixed up on. What happens to this minus 4? Right? The minus 4 becomes a plus 4. Yeah? Good, Dulce, yeah. Okay, and then the 2a, we know it becomes a negative 2a. Most of you did that pretty well. Okay, so now I got 6a plus 5 plus a negative 2a plus 4. Okay, here we go. 6a minus 2a. That gives me 4a. And then positive 5 plus 4 gives me a 9. Yeah? Does that make sense? Good. A lot of you guys got that one. So this is like really hard stuff. But kind of once you get it conceptually, you're like, oh, I get it. all those minuses become pluses, okay? All right, so here we go. Let's try one more. I think you guys are getting there, okay? I really do. All right, here we go. All right. Let's make it a little bit harder. Negative 4b minus 7 minus, okay. This one will be extra hard. Let's try one that's really hard here. Okay, this one's real hard. If you get this one, then you got it. All right, take your time. Take your time. Not quite there, Anthony. We're on the right track, though. Nope, not quite, Jinfei. This one might have been a little bit of a big jump here. Chris, yes. April, yes. Dulce, yes. Joanne, very close, not quite. Andre's very close, but not quite. Tina, yes. Good job. A lot of you guys are really close. And so a lot of you have gotten it already, so it's good. Yes, Andre, it's good. Got it, Annette. Good job. Madeline, not quite. All right, some of you guys are rocking this. Good job. Okay, here we go. Close, Anthony. All right, here we go. Let's do the hard part first. Again, this negative 6b becomes a positive 6b. And again, this minus 2 becomes plus 2. Yeah? So maybe in some ways the negative ones are easier because it changes things to positive, and that makes things nice and easy for us. Okay, negative 4b minus 7 plus 6b plus 2. Okay, here we go. Negative 4b and a positive 6b, those together make 2b. And negative 7 and a positive 2 make a negative 5. That or 2b plus a negative 5. I would accept either. Good job. All right, we're going to practice this more tomorrow too, but this is as hard to get. So if you can kind of get that idea that everything in that second parentheses switches, that all switches, like once you get that in your head, then it becomes something you can definitely do. And then it becomes just like adding linear expressions.